Meaning of sense training. So, sense training, learning at the preschool stage is done through using a sensory process which makes use of all its external senses such as sight, touch, hearing, smell, and taste. Need of sense training. Psychological researchers have shown that we don't understand the external world in a simple automatic way. Rather, we actively construct our interpretation of sensory information through several complex processes. Psychologists clarify this by distinguishing between two key concepts, sensation and perception. The study of sensation is concerned with the initial contact between organisms and their physical environment. It focuses on describing the relationship between various forms of sensory stimulation and how these inputs are registered by our sense organs, that is, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. In contrast, the study of perception is concerned with identifying the process through which we interpret and organize this information to produce our conscious experience of object and relationships among objects. It is important to remember that perception is not simply a passive process of decoding incoming sensory information. Now, views on sense training. Different philosophers and educationists define the sense training. According to Heinrich Froebel, founder of kindergarten, has visualized it as a place where the young children could grow like flowers if nurtured with appropriate experiences, providing these experiences to train the senses and emotions. Now, according to Froebel, sense training, Froebel, founder of kindergarten, had visualized it as a place where the young children could grow like flowers if nourished with appropriate experiences. Providing these experiences to train the senses and emotions was perceived as one of the aim of kindergarten. The atmosphere of the kindergarten, he felt, should be one of freedom, play, and joy, which fosters self expression. There were to be no books or fixed cognitive tasks for children. Rather, experiences in expression were to be given through song, movement, and construction. According to Maria Montessori, sense training, Maria Montessori's system of child education was based on her firm belief that to influence society, we must turn our attention to children. Out of this truth comes the importance of nursery schools, for it is the little ones who are building our future and they can work only on the materials we give them. The main premises of Montessori education are children are to be respected as different from adults and as individuals who differ from each other. Children possess an unusual sensitivity and intellectual ability different from those of the adult to absorb and learn from the environment both in quality and quantity. Visual sense The visual sense is interpreted by the eyes. Chromatic sense The chromatic sense with her color tablet activities. The stereognostic sense or tactile muscular sense. While the eye can perceive differences in size and form, the understanding is heightened when he hand when the hand is also engaged. Tactile sense The tactile sense is interpreted through the skin. Thermic sense The thermic sense takes the tactile sense a step further and teaches the child to distinguish temperature. Baric, baric sense The baric sense is feeling different with auditory sense. The auditory sense is interpreted the world through the ear. Olfactory sense The olfactory sense is interpreting the world through the nose by smelling. Gustatory sense The gustatory sense is interpreting the world through the tongue by tasting. Now, the sense training approach. Teaching the concept of the five senses to preschool child can be a challenge. As a teacher, you will have to ask yourself certain questions such as, does your preschool child use their five senses or in or even know they exist? Most preschool children use their sight primarily, followed by their hearing, but preschool children can learn to investigate the world around them using all five of their senses. Materials needed like chart paper, markers, poem counting senses by Risa Jordan, five large pieces of chart paper or construction paper, magazines to cut pictures from, glue, scissors. Procedure: before presenting the lessons, copy the poem onto a large piece of chart paper. Counting senses: I see with my eyes, I hear with my ear, two eyes, two ears. Assess- Assessment: go to each student individually and ask him to name the five senses. Now, sense training through different activities. First is sense of touch, texture painting, touch book, a day for a sense and Monday for touch, five senses in 7 steps, fun and craft. Second is sense of sight, science experiment, Tuesday for sight, five senses in 7 steps, fun and craft. Next is sense of smell, smelling flowers, Wednesday for smell, five senses in 7 steps, fun and craft. Next is sense of taste, drinks and eatables, Thursday for taste, five senses in 7 steps, fun and craft. Next is sense of hearing, hide and seek, a listening game, Friday for hearing, five senses in 7 steps, fun and craft. Now, book to reinforce the concept of five senses. As we know, the concept of the five senses can be reinforced in children by putting together a book which the children can take home. Take a picture of the child holding up five fingers and paste it onto the cover page of their book. Write the title, My Five Senses, fold the booklet cover page, leave separate pages for each sense, and label the beginning page indicating each sense, like with my eyes I see, with my ears I hear, with my finger I touch, with my nose I smell. Find original and interesting ways to include elements to these pages. For instance, paste the pictures of eyes or mirror or lens on the side pages. Similarly, stick sandpaper, dried leaf, and cotton ball on the pages for touch. Use tiny jungle bells or pictures of it on the hearing pages. Rub perfumes or fragrant oil on pages of smell. Have children cut out pictures of food and sweets and ice cream from color ads and paste onto their test pages. Now, the curriculum framework of a model kindergarten program. The key objectives of a kindergarten are to foster good physical development, sufficient muscular coordination, and essential motor skills in the child. Second is kindle the child's intellectual curiosities and give opportunities for intellectual development. Next is to promote the child's creativity by providing him with sufficient opportunities to develop sound health habits and basic skill needed for dressing themselves, toilet and eating habits. Next is to develop emotional maturity by guiding the child to express, understand, accept, and control his feelings and emotions, to inculcate desirable social manners and moral values, to encourage aesthetic appreciation through music, art, etc. Next is to enable the child to perform in a team and instill skills necessary for teamwork. The model kindergarten curriculum is centered on the four goals of learning. First is concept attainment, second is skill development, third is attitude formation, fourth is knowledge acquisition. The curriculum aims to achieve its objectives through multiple activity centers dealing with interdisciplinary themes in the curriculum, focusing on inquiring about work, who you are, introducing nature, how the world is, how to express yourself. These goals are attained through various subject goals, which should be a part of any preschool curriculum. The subject goals are as language goals include developing listening skills, speaking skills, narrative skills, phonetic skills, arithmetic goals including learning, recognizing patterns, identifying geometrical shapes, learning numbers, counting, understanding the number concept. These goals are attained through various subject goals, which should be a part of any preschool curriculum. The subject goals are as social science goals include developing the ability for interacting with the living world, understanding differences between people, knowing oneself in relation with others, discovering interesting things and phenomena in the environment. Next is understanding important emotional responses of others, learning basic of health and hygiene, aesthetic goals including the developing skill to appreciate beauty, recognize harmony and rhythm, create artwork. Now, art, music, and play in the kindergarten program. First is art center. Art center materials, paper, paints, brushes, Play-Doh, old white t-shirt, a variety of sheets, paper, glue, scissors, etc. You can ask learners to draw anything of their choice. You can ask them to color a shape or picture given by you. Integrated learning using real life context can lead to more effective integration of learning throughout the kindergarten program. Integration can provide opportunity for children to explore concepts and to develop and apply skills. Story and music center. You may ask your students to choose from the following. Listen to stories and poems about summer. Listen to and identify sound of summer. Initiate the sound of water, the sounds of birds, etc. Next is play centers. You young children actively explore their environment and the world around them through a process of learning based play. For example, manipulating objects, acting out roles, and experimenting with various materials, development of fine and gross motor skills. Motor skills are action that involve the movement of muscles in the body. Now development of health and safety. As children progress through the kindergarten program, they participate actively in creative movement and other daily physical activities, learn strategies for cooperative play in different games and activities, begin to demonstrate whole body balance and hand-eye coordination, learn about nutritious food items, practice proper personal hygiene that promotes health. Next is talk about safe and unsafe situations and learn basic safety rules. Next is identify substances that are harmful to the body. Next is physical activity center, activities, directions, health and safety centers, safety curriculum objectives, directions. Now assessment of learning. Pre-assessment at the beginning of each lesson. The teacher evaluates the children's previous knowledge and experience. That is pre-assessment. Now assessment. The teacher makes regular and continuing assessment during the teaching learning process. Now assessment strategies. Observation. Observing children's performance informally within the group and recording it. Portfolio of students' work. Maintaining a portfolio of each student's work that reflects physical, intellectual, and social development over time. Now, meaning of a concept. Concepts are considered as the soul of the mind and medium which make up the functional unit of a person's world. The basic unit of all the different types of learning is a concept form. Concept from birth till death, human learns new concepts and also use the old ones in their daily life when and where needed. You can say that a concept is a unit of knowledge, cognitive unit of meaning, and abstract idea or a mental symbol. Based on recent psychological research, four key themes have emerged. They are highlighted and illustrated here. Theme first, concepts are tools and that have powerful implication for children positive and negative reasoning. Concepts provides an efficient way of organizing experience. If children were unable to categorize, their experiences would be chaotic, filled with objectives, properties, sensations, and events too numerous to hold in memory. Concepts are used by children and adults to extend known information to previous unknown cases through a process called inductive inference. In inductive inference, a known name, for instance, if the child knows about car, then he extends into understand the bus which can carry more people. Theme second, children's early concepts are not necessarily concrete or perceptually based. Even preschool children are capable of reasoning about non-obvious, subtle, and abstract concepts. For example, preschool can easily get the point that the disease are caused by germs. Now, theme third, children's concepts are not uniform across content areas, across individuals, or across tasks. For example, there are wide variations among the children's concepts of animals. A child who has been watching television program on animals living in polar region may recognize a penguin, even a pigeon may not be recognized by the child who never had any such exposure or adult to guide him. Now theme 4. Children's concepts reflects their emerging theories about the world. To the extent that children's theories are inaccurate, their conceptions are also biased. Many of the basis of the reasoning of the theories formulated by the children, but it may change over a period of time. Now, concept development. Teachers should make use of the most wonderful gift of nature, namely curiosity, the dynamic force leading to discovery. The curriculum material should be graded to suit the development ages of the learners, especially the three hierarchical stages in learning experience: inactive, iconic, and symbolic. To ensure suitability, the spiral organization of curricular material should be followed so that the same unit can be split into various graded stages appropriate for the developmental stages of a learner. He believed that if this psychological approach is maintained, anything can be taught anybody in any level of development in any intellectually honest manner. For proper cognitive development, gradually increase the level of abstraction of experiences, freedom from bondage of response to concrete stimuli, and increase in the use of verbal language were cited by him as sign of cognitive development. There should be constant and systematic interaction between the teacher and the learner so that the latter can discover scientifically and precisely. Now, concept formation. On the basis of intellectual development in preschool children, the critical concepts are categorized into six categories, such as first is critical concept. Rapid intellectual development among children takes place during their preschool years. According to Piaget, the children are now engaged in what he called the pre-operational thought, which is a kind of thinking that helps them to solve their problem using some internal reflection. At this age of development, are able to think about people or objectives that are not present and are also capable of reflection upon things which they cannot see, hear, touch, or act upon. Next is critical concept. Second, the pre-scholars think in quantitative terms. It is perception based on really heavily on the feels, touch, smell, taste, sound, and appearances of things. They think in different ways than adults, even though they have limited cognitive development. Critical concept third. The pre-scholars make fascinating errors in logic as they think undimensionally. They are more so sophisticated, casual thinking than it infancy in still faculty. These children also infer that all objects that move are alive with whether they be animate or inanimate. They are capable of handling just one aspect of a problem at a time. Next is critical concept 4. The children are very competent these days. They are to be given activities to enhance the social interaction in thinking and problem solving. Next is critical concept 5. An intellectual advancement in the preschool years is the emergence of a theory of the mind. This gives a good idea about the early understanding of what the mind is and how it works. Next is critical concept 6. Preschoolers with mental retardation think and solve problems as done by children at very early age. Some will still be in the sensory motor period of cognitive development. Next is higher order learning skill, meaning and its importance. The path towards education for all starts even before primary school. Development from 3 years is marked by the emergence of increasingly complex social behavior, problem solving, and pre literacy skills that build on earlier achievements. It has been highlighted in the various units that early childhood is a crucial period for acquisition of the cognitive skills that will carry children through school and influence their life chances in adulthood. Many factors affect cognitive development, and poor cognitive development leads to low academic outcomes. The process of applying the mind in order to acquiring knowledge is defined as study. Study skills are learning skills which are also thinking skills, which includes careful attention to and critical examination and investigation of subjects. Learning and thinking are closely related. Modern theories of learning emphasize the importance of thinking. When we learn, what happens in early years between birth and primary school is crucial. Now, developing higher order learning skills. Concept formation. As we know, concepts are tools with powerful implications for children's reasoning. Children's early concepts are not necessarily complete or perpetually based. Preschoolers are capable of abstract reasoning. Children's concepts are not uniform across content areas, individuals, or tasks. Children's concepts reflect their emerging theories about the world, reasoning, critical thinking, decision making, creative thinking, problem solving. Now, pedagogy to develop higher order learning skills. It is based on the concept that education can be acquired at all places and all occasions. Activity based approach, open ended activities, participatory methods, and the holistic learning system are to be used for teaching. Now, assessment of higher order learning skills. The young children should not be given any formal examination. Their progress and improvement should be monitored on a regular basis. Emphasis must be placed upon reinforcement of the lessons taught and not judgment. No ranking should be given. Instead, every child is a star and is given a title of brilliant, shining, or twinkling star. The children should be motivated to have the right attitudes towards life and learning, recognizing that habits formed at this age last lifetime. Now, developing language skills. Developing language skills, developing communication skills, developing listening and responding, distinguish between and identify different sounds they hear in the environment. Notice small differences, similarities between environmental and verbal sounds. Repeat a sound pattern or clapping rhythm correctly. Demonstrate phonic perception and articulation. Respond to verbal instructions. Repeat a sequence of 3 to 4 words. Sound correctly. Listen to stories, rhythms, and songs for enjoyment. So, these are the points help to develop language skills. Next is developing speaking and communication. Tell parts of stories their own words, say rhythm and sing song, participate in discussions, role play, imitating, miming, and taking with others, describe and compare objects, pictures, and situations, pointing out for the finger details, answer questions on discussions, stories, and rhymes, communicate spontaneously and with confidence about themselves and their environment, ask questions to elicit information. Role of dramatics, music, and art in developing higher order learning skill. Drama, art, experience, joy, enjoyment arouse in the child certain elementary sensitivities towards his environment, help children learn through playing freely with natural materials such as clay, sand, flower, leaves, etc. Next is help children learn through movement and sound by singing and dancing together and by exposure to the natural environment to participate in the joy of sensing colors, home and rhythms. Next is music. Music is a powerful means of communication. It may be joyful, wistful, and sad, exuberant and exciting, or soothing and relaxing. Music can match as well as affect our mood. Now, need of training for preschool children. In our society, preschool is considered as a laboratory which serve to the needs of children between 2 to 6 years. Various experiences are adapted according to the growth needs of a child. It shares with the parents the responsibility for promoting sound growth in a period when growth is rapid and important. Children have a limited number of experiences as compared to adults. Their responses to situations are relatively simple and direct. They act as they feel. Different can show different responses to same stimulus. One child may likely to carry and another to throw something in similar circumstances. They express feelings more directly. Their behavior changes rapidly in a different environment or under different methods of handling. They may blossom forth with quite different ways of behaving. Next is training at home. The family represents the world of the child. All the phases of a child's life are interdependent. A well balanced responsibility, a well balanced personality cannot be developed unless a good physical regime is followed and the child is given healthy mental and emotional surroundings. The training of children is a joint responsibility of both parents, operation at the home, and family has perhaps more to do with mental health than any other single factor. The first duty of the family towards its children, after the satisfaction of physical wants, is to give them the background of love and security that all human beings needs. Now, training at school. The school has a function of its own which the home cannot perform. Besides helping the formation of character, it enables the child to acquire efficiency and skills. During a normal preschool days, a child spends about 3 to 4 hours in the school. For every hour spent learning new things, good health and state of mind have always been accepted factors that influence behavior of the child. As a preschool teacher, you must make sure that each child becomes not only becomes an autonomous learner but a lifelong learner. You can develop autonomous learner through personal participation in an activity. Next is you must have a respectful attitude that requires learners to be considerate of the rights and feelings of others to help create a cooperative learning environment. When people treat others with respect, they feel better about themselves and develop self confidence. You should model courtesy so that children can learn to be considerate of others. Now, developing social skill among preschool children. Fostering social skill in preschool children. There is some suggestions. First is teach the child about emotions, maintain an intimate, loving relationship to the child, display positive, warm emotions at home, talk with the child about his social world, encourage an upbeat, problem solving attitude, be calm and supportive when the child is upset. Next is don't dismiss or play down the child's negative emotions. Don't offer material rewards for helpful social behavior. Be a role model. Next is avoid bad social influences. Now, developing problem solving skills. As we know, the problem solving skills are important in child's life. The problem solving skill in preschool can be developed by teaching them to identify the problem, find out the necessary steps, and make right decision to solve it. They should be guided to proceed along the right path to solve their problem. They should develop the technique of what needs to be done how to go about it, where to seek help, how to best go about the task, and who can possibly help, and when the result needs to be accomplished in order to solve the problems. There are many different strategies and techniques that parents and teachers can use to develop problem solving skills, offering choices and options, presenting scenarios and solutions, social stories, role playing, and slowing down impulsive behaviors are some of the techniques which are of great helpful. Now, developing morals in a preschool child. Role of teachers in moral development. Teachers help children to understand character, traits, and values. They also model desirable character traits in the students, both within the school setting and in the larger society. Next is imparting positive values. Imparting positive values. Important values. We consider values to be the standards or criteria we use in making judgment about whether something is positive or negative, good or bad, pleasing or displeasing. Imparting positive values. Some of the important values that needs to be inculcated among the preschoolers are honesty, sharing, friendliness, caring and empathy for others, responsibility, compassion, cleanliness, integrity, courage, kindness, promptness, perseverance, positive attitude, respect for others, leadership, good citizenship, happiness, cooperation, equality, faith. These are the positive values. Now, ways to impart the values. The more you give, the more you will receive. Is a proverb that is worth telling the school children, teaching them to share with others what they have and also at service to others. Now, need for training for group activities. Now, need for training for group activities. Values of group relationship. A more realistic concept of self confidence, strength to resist, advantages and limitations of group activities. The class as whole and small groups may be used to provide first-hand learning about interpersonal and group participation skills. Objectives can be set, questions can be raised, concepts can be clarified, and problems can be discussed. Being part of a group fosters feeling of belonging, mutual respect, and responsibility. Interaction with others stimulates thinking as ideas are shared. Now, organizing group work, investigation topics, problems, questions, and hypotheses formulated in class discussion through interviews, library, research, and use of materials in study centers, collecting pictures, stories, articles, postcards, objects, and other items related to questions under study, making maps, displays, and plans for reporting and sharing. Now, role of a teacher in group work. When the child leaves home and enters the group, he finds support which the teacher offers in a good primary school, serving as a transition in the step from home to school. The teacher stands really to act as mother substitute as long as the child needs support of this kind. Now, training for observation and exploration of environment. State suggestions or direction in a positive form. Use only words and tone of voice which will help the child feel confident and reassured. Assured. Avoid comparisons and competitions among children. Redirection is most effective when consistent with the child's motives or interest. Avoid making models in any art medium for the children to copy. Next is give the child the minimum of help in order that he may have the maximum chance to grow in independence. Next is make your suggestions effective by reinforcing them when necessary. The timing of a suggestion may be as important as suggestion itself. Next is when limits are necessary, they should be clearly defined and consistently maintained. Use the most strategic position for supervising. Next is learning readiness. School learn readiness, a term of use frequently in the preschool and kindergarten setting, means that a child is ready to enter a social and educationally based environment. In other words, the child is ready to start the process of learning how to do things independently. To do this, a child should have the ability to work independently, attend or listen what someone else is saying, get along with children of the same age, learn and participate in structured situations such as play and story reading, focus or key in and listen to one central person in the classroom, learn in a cooperative learning environment where children learn from teachers and from one another, play with other children. Now, role of parents in school readiness. Parents are usually a child's first teacher and can act as a role model when it comes to teaching their children to interact socially with others and to do such simple thing as understand to wait in line or wait their turn. Parents can also help their children develop organizational skill at home by teaching them to pick up their clothes, teaching them to put their toys away in order to children assigning simple household chores. Children should learn that they are sharing the home with others and they are not the only person in the home. This concept applies to the school environment. These are important skills because at school children will be asked to organize their desks, put things away and wait their turn. Having learned and practiced these skills at home will give them an as once school starts. Another helpful preschool activity that parents can practice is giving their children the opportunity to listen to and learning language through storytelling. One of the best way to prepare children for school entry is to read to them. Not only does the story reading offer a one-on-one quiet time with children, it can help develop children's listening and language skills. Today, research suggests that preschool age children watch TV for 3 to 8 hours a day. Although educational TV programs are also helpful, they should complement and not replace the one-on-one reading time, which is also an opportunity for children to interact with their parents in a calm, quiet setting and get used to communicating to each other. Now, role of pre-primary school in learning readiness. The role of preschool is to foster learning in a fun environment. Basically, preschool should be play in a structured environment, activities include promotion of children getting along with others and experimenting with new material under the supervision of qualified preschool teachers. Also, children attending preschool have a chance to develop their language and talking skills, listen to stories, play with sand, paper, clay. The activities provided in the preschool help prepare children for to the process of learning. Kindergarten is where the psychological process of learning is prepared, including memory, organizational skills, social interactions, and the experimentation of new processes as new, more and advanced paper pencil tasks. The concept of school readiness had defined and redefined over the years, resulting in different viewpoints. Several theories of child development and learning have been used to explain the term. In fact, there appears to be two types of readiness. First is readiness to learn, which involves a level of development at which the child has the capacity to learn specific materials, and second is readiness for school, which involves a specific set of cognitive, linguistic, social, and motor skills that enables a child to assimilate the school's curriculum. Early studies fostered the belief that children should have certain skills such as being able to count, recite the alphabet, or that they should be able to conform to a set of desired behaviors before they enter kindergarten. Current research in the fields of early childhood education, child psychology, and neuroscience is changing what many researchers, practitioners, and parents have come to understand about child development and the learning process. However, instead of placing the burden of readiness on children, educators are being challenged to reconsider traditional beliefs about the school's role in helping young children continue learning and succeed in the school culture. Recent studies on readiness children are in schools indicate that there actually are two sides of to the readiness issue, getting children ready for school and getting school ready for children. Educators, parents or caregivers and community members need to be aware of the factors that affecting children's success in school. The National Association for the Education of Young Children states that the discussion of readiness must consider three critical factors. First is addressing the inequalities in early life experience so that all children have access to opportunities. that promotes school success. Second is recognizing and supporting individual differences among children, including linguistic and cultural differences. And third is establishing reasonable and appropriate expectation of children's capabilities upon entry to school.
Thank you, sir.